A very good morning to you. Welcome to Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. Now, do you actually realize that one way or the other, you are always selling something? Well, it could be that you're in business and for you, you are literally selling either a product or a service. Or you could actually be working in formal employment and before you know it, you are actually selling something. Or you're in the creative space and your brand is actually what you sell. But the question that I have for us is, how well do you sell whatever it is that you're selling? Whether it is your brand, whether it is that product or service, whether it is your skill, how well do you sell yourself? Well, today, luckily, we are having this conversation because we are talking about the art of selling. Yes, the art of selling. And joining us for this conversation is Mr. Kagwanja, who is the sales executive at Isuzu East Africa Limited. And I'm excited for this conversation. So let's just dive right in. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's good to have you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. For the sake of our audience, just let us know who you are and, you know, what it is that you do.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Kagwanja, as you've rightly mentioned. Professionally, I am a sales executive at Isuzu East Africa. And my position is responsible for business development in what we're calling new markets. That is other countries within the East African community, DRC, South Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi, and Malawi. Other than that, I am a husband, I am a father of 2 children, a boy and a girl.
Oh, wow. Yes. Great. The full package. You are enjoying the full Kenyan dream.
Yes.
One
yes,
wife,
yes.
2 children, 3-bedroom house. You know, the full shebang, so to speak.
We thank God, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I know working at Isuzu, you probably have a 4-wheeled car, part of the Kenyan dream. Now,
yes.
We're talking about the art of selling today. And I think sometimes I appreciate sort of getting a bit of a background, you know, so that we appreciate for you this whole selling business when it started. So tell us about a bit of a background, you know, your studies. Is this something that you woke up one day and you are selling, or is there a background to it?
Well, I like the way you put it, selling as an art, because it requires some skills which are honed with time or over time. But I started my journey, at least in terms of academics, at the University of Nairobi, where I did my Bachelor of Arts degree, focusing more on economics. I also studied finance and accounting at Strathmore University. And initially, that was my direction. I enjoyed my time at school, studying, and of course interacting with my students and friends there. I even got an internship somewhere along the way as a credit control officer. And I think that was the first time I got to have that experience with handling customers. So as the role implies credit control, you're calling customers to chase for your money.
Yeah.
So you interact with different people. Some are very tough. And in fact, I remember my role at that time was handling high net worth individuals. So this is your typical CEO. He's probably forgotten their bills to be paid.
Yeah.
So you know how to remind them gently. And of course, along the way, there are issues that come up. Maybe they might say, we didn't have, your services were not as they ought. To have as we have contracted. So there, of course, that was my initial experience in handling, you know, things like conflict and conflict management.
Yeah.
Yes. So along the way, finished campus, started a business immediately after campus with a few friends. The business, we did the business for about 2 years. And I think that was my first proper experience in failure because we didn't last long.
Yeah.
We were very young and we'd gotten some money here and we were trying to try business in Kenya. And we all know it's not easy starting a business. So I decided to get into employment. So in 2013, 25-year-old young man, at that time, during my self-employment stint, I was handling the marketing area. That was my role. So the reason really was my personality at that time, easy to connect with people. So we all felt that I should be taking care of that role. Then, but now, when things were not working out, got into employment, and of course, you know, that is again, you need to know how to adjust. That's true. And I could not stay hungry, so I looked for a job, and I got a job as a rental sales agent, a car rental sales agent. I did the job for about 6 months. So there was a bit of success. Actually, highlight at that time was within 3 months of my role, I got a very good client, I think the Nigerian High Commission, and I was able to give them a fleet of vehicles. You know, they were attending that inauguration ceremony for the then President Uhuru Kenyatta. So I think that was my first experience with, you know, a successful sale. 3 months into the job, still a young man. So I did that job for about 6 months. It was not easy, again, looking for customers. But I think it also involved tarmacking, you know, the actual tarmacking. So moving on from that, I got now into the automotive industry proper in terms of selling. And I became a leasing sales executive and direct sales executive at a large automotive firm in Kenya. And I think that was now my experience kept growing. I was able to handle you know, large accounts, key accounts for some of the large companies in the industry, you know, like Safaricom, East African Breweries. Then after that, you know, bringing in fleet deals. So the job kept on getting more and more exciting until in 2022, I now got into my current role, now in business development again, but now it's cross-border. No longer only the local market, but now we serve the region. Yes, so that's a brief.
Oh, great. That's quite a colorful journey.
Thank you.
And it seems like after your self-employment stint, from there, your area of specialization seems to be around cars. And I don't know about you, but cars are in many ways a luxury, so to speak. And so how do you convince someone, you know, because this is not an actual, so to speak, basic need. So it's not something as easy as, you know, food, for example, where somebody, I really need food. But this is, you know, a vehicle. And on top of that, it's not just at a level where, you know, the rest of us would operate on. This is at a high level. And so I am keen and interested to learn what are some of the lessons that you have picked over time that have proved useful in both what you have been doing over the years and especially now when you have to do this thing, not just within the Kenyan market, but as you've said, cross-border.
Yes. So you're right. When you're selling different value sort of products or solutions. And I would say the first thing is you're trying to also sell yourself more than just a product or a solution. So a car is, yes, an expensive investment, could be. And there has to be an element of trust. How do you come across as? Are you someone who is trustworthy and genuine? So, but again, it's a journey. I would say you also need confidence because, and that confidence really comes from how well you know what you're selling, how well you know yourself, how well you know what you're selling. And it's typically a journey. I would say a typical sales experience on my part can take even up to a year. You engage a customer, you know, slowly by slowly. And in most cases, if the customer comes to you, probably your work is halfway done.
Yeah.
But if you're the one going to a customer, then you have a challenge. And you need a skill sometimes to even create a need. A customer may not know that they need something, that they need to buy one product or the other. But you, in the course of engaging them, just show them that you will actually benefit from having this product or solution.
Yeah.
So I would say you need to have good relationship skills. You need to have, as I mentioned, a lot of confidence, know your product well. And really what you're doing is, I would say one of the key lessons I've learned is that, and it's really along my journey. Initially, I would sell a product. You know, this is what I have.
Yeah.
And I knew my product very well from my previous employment, and I also knew the competitors' products thoroughly. So it was easy for me to compare, you know, this and what the competitor is offering. I knew the strengths and weaknesses of each product. But then, which is good, it's really important for you to do that, because at least when you know, you are more confident. But now, to improve on that is you need to be able to know and articulate the needs of your customer, and you know that this is what they really need, and then you now provide a solution. So you're no longer just selling a product, but you're meeting a customer's needs. And in that way, you'll be able to, you know, connect to the customer, and you can have a longer relationship. Another thing I would say that I see a lot of times is that, you know, you can be very excited to get a sale, but when problems come in the course of that selling process, you don't talk to your customer, you ignore calls. So it's really important to be consistent in your engagement with your customers. As excited as you are to get the deposit, make sure that you're with him when trouble comes. And in the long run, you'll maintain a good relationship with them. So I think those are some of the important lessons I've learned across along my journey.
One of the, I think, the important things you've mentioned is in terms of knowing, and you've said two things: knowing the product or service or whatever it is that you're selling, and knowing yourself.
Yes.
Just for a moment, this whole idea of knowing yourself, how crucial is that in the art of selling?
Yeah, I think it's very important. You have different types of people. And different types of personalities. You can have, you know, the typical assumption is the salesperson is loud, is the extroverted person, a lot of energy. But there are also good salespeople who can be very quiet. And I think I'm more on that side. I may not be very talkative and very loud, but I know that, you know, I may not come across as very loud and talkative, but in terms of selling, I've had quite some good highlights along my journey. So it is important to know your kind of personality, the things that, you know, that trigger you, and you know, your key strong areas which you can build on. If you're good at, you know, memorizing your products well and knowing your products well, then that could be a strength. And then it is also important to know your weaknesses. You should really know maybe when you're afraid, what makes you afraid, or lose confidence, what kind of scenario. And again, try and work on those weaknesses as well. And I think some of the problems I've seen, if I can continue along that line, is in terms of weaknesses or challenges or inhibitions in selling, is you know, pride, number one. Yes. So you might feel like you're too big to go and knock on some doors. You know, this is not my a person of my caliber and position.
I'm too important for this.
Yes, you're too important for this. And in that case, you'd be surprised how many opportunities you can lose just because of that attitude.
Yeah.
That you're too big or important, and really you're trying to serve someone.
Yeah.
You know, people really don't care that much about you. So you focus on what you're selling, and out of 100 or so people, you might probably get 10 or so success stories.
Yeah.
And another thing is fear. Sometimes you can be very afraid, you know, of that no, or what will this person say, and you know, you just have a lot of tension. And I think it's important to, you know, catch yourself and realize when you're getting afraid or you're losing your confidence, and try and you know, navigate through that the best way you know how. And to build confidence is just know, again, yourself well, know what you're selling, and so that when you come to a customer, they won't see, they can see someone who is confident, they know what they're talking about, and you're building trust with them. Yes,
all right,
yes.
I like that. I want us to take a song break.
Okay, sure.
Then we come back. I want us to touch a bit, because we've already introduced a conversation around challenges or even personal inhibitions that stand in our way of selling. This is Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. And today's challenging conversation tied with such an inspiring story of a journey of one who has been selling for most part of his working career. Indeed, we are talking about the art of selling today. And I'm just wondering, what kind of a seller are you? Would you consider yourself a good seller? And remember, at the beginning of the show, we declare that all of us in one way or the other are selling something. I am selling right now to you this idea that Motivation Monday is important for you. It will challenge you. It will inspire you. And we are talking about the art of selling. And so Mr. Kevin Kagwanja is our guest. He's the sales executive at Isuzu East Africa Limited. And so far, the conversation has been quite inspiring. So let's get back right to it. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you just before we listen to that song, you had started us off on sort of some of the challenges that we may encounter and personal inhibitions, you know, to just the art of selling, things that stand in our way of actually selling. So just continue on that trend.
Wow. Okay. Yes. Thank you. So I'd like to say that I really enjoy what I do. And I think passion and enjoyment is critical in the journey, the challenging journey. I'm also very fortunate and grateful to God that I work for an organization like Isuzu East Africa.
Yeah.
It was recently, or I think last year, won the first place as through FKE Awards as the best employer.
Oh, wow.
Employer of the year. So it's a really wonderful organization to be part of, and there's a lot of support you get in this journey. So basically, you're not alone. You have great colleagues. You work together to try and address those challenges that that you come across. So yes, I would say one challenging experience I had was during COVID. So by that time, it was just before I joined Isuzu, and we all know how difficult it was for everyone across the world. So customers were not buying. We were all at home, and as a salesperson, you know, you earn your commission through selling. And it was a particularly difficult time because bills are there to be paid. And if you're fortunate enough to have an employer who cares about you, they will understand. But it's not always the case, and especially if you're in self-employment. So I remember really focusing on just keeping in touch with my customers, asking them how are they doing, how are they coping throughout this time. I didn't tell them, oh, we have a special offer, go and buy this. But really trying to walk through the difficult journey with the customers. Because I remember that time, most of, in the automotive industries, trucks were parked. People had parked there because there was no much movement. So it was a very difficult time. And I remember once, you know, the country opened up and we started selling again, most of those customers came back. And I think in retrospect, 2020, at least the second half, was one of the highlights of my career because I was able to get quite a number of fleet deals with some good customers. And really, I remember, if I think back, is just keeping in touch with the customer, empathizing with them throughout those difficult and challenging times. Another thing that is very key is just really know your customer as much as you can. Observe. Be an active listener. You know, a lot of times we just talk to respond, but we're not listening. You know, you're listening to respond instead of listening to understand. So spend a lot of time trying to, you know, research on your customer and really know them before you engage them. And although in some cases you don't get that opportunity, you can just be in a networking event and you meet someone and you have an opportunity to just express yourself and sell what you're selling. But in those few seconds you have, try and understand who you're dealing with. What is their age? What is their role? What do they do? What is their gender? What is their race? So in those few seconds, try and look for a way to understand your customer and connect with them. And building that relationship is very important, very important. In fact, that strong relationship will make you move with your customers. I have customers who moved with me from my previous employer.
Oh, really?
To Isuzu. Even this month, today, I'm even selling in Kenya through our office, customers who used to buy from us, buy from me in my previous employment because they've become friends. And it's really interesting because across the region, again, you have different types of cultures, different kinds of approaches to selling. And I'm very grateful to Isuzu for that opportunity to be able to, you know, interact with very talented, incredible individuals across the region. You'll find that a place like in Uganda, you cannot sell if you don't know your customers' spouse, their children, attend the birthdays, the weddings. You have to have a very strong relationship. In Kenya, it might be a bit more transactional, but in some cases, you need to just have a very strong bond with your customers. In a place like DRC, the customer comes, they see what you're selling, they give you cash, and they go with their truck. You don't spend time, let's go to the bank. As soon as you convince the customer, the buying cycle is much shorter than probably what you would see here. And so I think that exposure, has helped me to just know various types of personalities and customers and know how to handle them. Yes. So I think that is very crucial.
I think you've just touched on an important thing, adaptability.
Yes.
So you want to say in whatever space one finds themselves in, we must learn to adapt to, either it is different cultures like your case, it's different personalities, it's different, likings and tastes. Just speak a bit on that whole idea of being adaptable, especially if you are in whatever field you are and you're selling something.
Thank you. I think you can't overemphasize that crucial skill of being flexible and adaptable. You can prepare well. Do what you can best to prepare. But sometimes the ground is very different. So you can, and it's really the nature of the job of the salesman. And what you're looking for really, what brings out that flexibility and adaptability is when you're networking. So you'll meet with someone, you've planned today I'm going to meet this one and 5 people. But then you meet a particular customer and he says, I want to introduce you to someone else. So, and quickly you're able to see this actually might be a very important meeting or will bring good results. So you need to be able to adjust. And then maybe you might just walk into a room, things are not what you expected, and the day might not go the way you want, but you still need to be adaptable and adjust with the situation. Even when you're talking with your customer, you might have, you know, a plan. This is how I'm going to talk. This is what I'm going to say. But then you see someone else in the room who you didn't expect. So once again, as you're observing your audience or your customers, adjust depending on who you meet. If it's probably somebody who might be elderly on age, you can talk about culture, you know, things that would make you help you
don't start
connect.
talking to them about Manu.
About Manu, yes. Exactly.
No shade on Manu fans.
Yes. So really, it's important to be very flexible, to adjust depending on who you meet and the situation. Yes.
What's the role of personal grooming?
Personal grooming. Yes, personal grooming, very important, very important. I think it's also part of the first impressions you make with your customer and as you're trying to connect. So, and I appreciate that we all have to come from somewhere. And a lot of probably our listeners from wherever they are and they're selling, probably at this stage, you need to walk a lot before you get to meet your customer. So probably carry an extra shirt in your bag or mouthwash. If you know you're going to talk a lot, make sure before you go and interact with your customer, you spend some time to just tidy up a little bit, polish your shoe, but you need to create a very good first impression. If you can smell yourself, probably your customer will also smell you. So let it not be too strong or overpowering in terms of the cologne. If it's the hair, keep it tidy. If it's the shirt, let it be well ironed. So present yourself well, and just invest in that. I think in the office, I wherever I am, I have to have a bottle of mouthwash because I know I'm talking a lot to make it a bit more pleasant for the customer. So at whatever stage you are in your selling career, I think it is very important to project a good image. You don't always have to have a full suit, executive suit, but whatever you have, make sure it's clean and you're presentable. Yes. Okay. So you don't put off your customer.
At the very onset, they've already made the decision. I think that is what people talk about. First impressions, you know, in the first 5 seconds, you know, somebody has already built a first impression on you. Yes. And if you lose that, then it takes time. It takes time.
You know, maintain eye contact when you're talking with your customer. Ensure there's, you know, proper space, personal space. Have a firm handshake. Don't linger too much. Don't make inappropriate comments. Compliment your customer. You can say, I like your office. Or don't necessarily compliment their features, you know, like, you know, you have a nice beard or you have beautiful eyes. No, that is very inappropriate. Just make it professional. You have a nice shirt. I like your shoe. You have a very nice office. I really like your team at the front office. They really took good care of me. And in that way, you're trying to just, you know, connect with your customer. And in fact, initially, I would say I would spend a lot of time, you know, in the conversation, you're spending a lot of time, you know, negotiating, bringing out your product. But really, sometimes that opportunity for selling, you may just have like 4 or 5 minutes, but in that 30-minute conversation, spend a lot of time just engaging with the customer at their level. If they are Man fans, talk a bit about football. If they have a project in the village, talk about you know, something other than the actual business. Reserve that now as your, you know, like the climax of your your interaction, and you'll know when it's the right time to bring it in. Again, depending on your customer. Sometimes if it there are those who like going straight to the point, that's okay. But there are those who would like, you know, you beat around the bush a little, play a bit of soccer kidogo before you shoot the goal. Yes.
Okay, I like that. I like that. What have been some of what you will term as sort of success stories. You're looking back and you're like, yeah, that was quite a success. And what would you say made that happen? I know you had touched earlier on that post-COVID period. Maybe you could tell us on that. What do you think worked? You'd mentioned a bit on the relationships you kept. But what else? As you look back in terms of just the success stories that you've had, what would you make the connection with in terms of, because of A, B, C, D, perhaps this is why I was able to gain this?
Yes, so I think I've really been privileged in my current role to meet a lot of people in different sectors. Security sector, you're meeting with senior people, probably in the military, in the police, government basically, and also in the private sector. And really, initially, I was, you know, oh my goodness, how will I be able to talk to someone this senior? But Isuzu has really afforded me that opportunity, and I'm very grateful to be able to meet with people from all ranks. And I would say I've been able to get some very good business across the region. Because of being able to just interact with them. And it was like being thrown in the deep end. You just told Kevin, this person is coming, and we need to host them and, you know, take them around, for example, the production facility, and just showcase what solutions we have. So I would say I've been able to get quite some good business, and my role really is to bring dollars into the company, foreign exchange. So my currency is normally in dollars, not in Kenya shillings.
You deal in dollars.
I deal in dollars, and it is really exciting for me. So I would say that again, I may be the face of that transaction, but there's really a very strong team that is supporting me throughout the whole journey. You know, when you're pitching to your customer, you have your very good presentation, organized, and you know, you have people who are behind the scenes who make the whole project a success. And again, you know, excellence, you cannot underestimate that. Whatever you're doing, you have to do it at a very high level of excellence, so that the customer is impressed with what you're providing. And there's a lot of hard work that goes into giving something excellent. A lot of times we've worked late into the night hosting customers and really working on various projects. So I would say a lot of hard work. You sacrifice depending on the season. There are sometimes it's a bit relaxed and it's really dynamic. The sales business is very dynamic. Sometimes there's a big high, sometimes there are lows, but at the same time, during those highs, you will see there's a lot of work that goes into, hard work that goes into presenting that excellent proposal or presentation. So I would say, and take your time. I know there's a lot of pressure sometimes to deliver and to make your money and all that. But if you do it right, even the person you're presenting to will come back and will refer
you'll have
others.
Repeat business.
Yeah, repeat business and referral business. So that is really important. Even as you mentioned, success stories, a lot of it has also come through referrals. I've dealt with this man, he will take good care of you. Yes. So I think that is, I would say, I wouldn't want to go into the nitty-gritty.
No, that's fine. That's okay. All right. Thank you for that. I think one of the profound things I've heard is that whole idea of support. And I think that is an important one. And I want us to pursue just that thought for a moment after we listen to this song. In terms of, you're not alone, and sometimes we can have a solo ninja mentality kind of a thing. But let's listen to this song, and then when we come back, we touch on that and other things. Welcome back. This is Motivation Monday, and we aim to bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. And today's conversation is on the art of selling. How well do you sell yourself? How well do you sell your product or your service? How well do you sell your brand? Well, that is what we're talking about today, and I hope there are quite a number of lessons that you are already gleaning. Our guest is Mr. Kevin Kagwanja, Sales Executive at Isuzu East Africa Limited, and so far this has been quite an insightful conversation, and so I want us to just get right into it. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, before we listen to that song I mentioned, I would want us to touch a bit on something crucial, I think, that you said on a support system. You had mentioned that as much as you might be the face of, say, the business, but behind you there are many other people that are coming alongside to make sure that that sale is successful. So just touch a bit on that whole idea.
Yes, definitely. Teamwork. At work, we talk about hunting as a pack. So you're not just going there
a lone wolf,
but you go as a team. And I would say it is important to build and have that social capital, that as you're interacting with your colleagues, people who are even more talented than you and better than you, that you acknowledge their contributions, say thank you, but also just know how you're going to build that social capital with your partners or people you're collaborating with on a particular project. So, and you know who is the best, who will help you, for example, with your product, and whatever you're customizing for your customer, you know this is the best person at their field. Approach them, ask for help, and have a good working relationship, with your colleagues. That will really help you deliver on time and with utmost quality. So I think also spend time building your relationship around the people you're working with, socialize, go and just have professional good interactions with them so that it will help you in your selling. Yes.
All right. Okay. Ethics.
Yes.
What is the importance of ethics?
Ethics in business.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very good line to go into. Integrity, I think, is very key. For me, I would say what I sell to my customers is really trust. And for them to trust you, are you someone they, in the first few interactions, have you been able to, build a level of trust? And it's very important because this customer is spending a lot of their hard-earned resources to get to invest in what you're giving them. So I would say respect that as a salesperson. I've heard of some funny examples where you don't handle the resources of the customer as they should. So let the customer trust you, and I think this will go a long way in the customer referring other customers to you, or you getting repeat business. So the key currency you're selling is trust, and you have to be a person of integrity. Now I understand there is a lot of pressure. There are targets, there are deadlines. You go broke at times. So there's a lot of pressure to, take shortcuts. But I would really encourage our listeners today is don't compromise on your values. In the long run, it actually pays out. And because I believe some of us who are with us are believers, remember, there are commandments, there are things you should not do. So try and as much as possible maintain integrity. And don't take shortcuts. Yes, in the long run, it pays out.
And you're a testament that you can actually maintain personal integrity and uphold good, godly Christian values and still make it, so to speak.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Okay. I like that. Now, there are different people tuned in, listening and watching. Some may not be in the exact line, which is sales, but the conversation today is really on the art of selling. Somebody may be having an interview, this particular week, and they will need to sell themselves before that interviewing panel. Somebody could be a musician or an artist or whatever in the creative field, and they have a brand to sell. Somebody could be in actual business selling a product or a service, and the inactive selling. Or somebody could just be looking at you and saying, wow, when I grow up, I want to be like Kevin. What general advice then do you give that then will help us in this art of selling?
Okay, thank you. I would say number one is a personal development. Try and grow your skills, sharpen your skills maybe through online material. Learn how to negotiate, learn how to, build resilience. I would also say in my journey, one thing is I always look out for those inspiring personalities around me who are ahead of me, and interact with them, find out how they have made it. One of my supervisors at work, he's my namesake, he's also called Kevin. And I just admire the way he will interact with the customers, and having a very wide experience. He knows how to negotiate, how to impress the customer. He will tell you, Kevin, you need to follow through on this one. You need to be consistent. Someone who is challenging you in the next level. So I think it's also very important for personal development. Invest in yourself. When you're getting that money, put aside some of it to just grow your career. And I would say, again, lean on the support that is around you to help you. If you're in a family, talk to your brother, talk to your sister. I have this thing coming up. How do you think I can improve on my interview performance? Research a lot about the organizations you're going to interact with, or the people you're going to meet. So try as much as possible to prepare yourself as you're getting into that engagement. And also, try and build your creativity. I know sometimes our environment might stifle that creativity that you have. So don't let it just disappear, but also try and find innovate creative ways to interact with your interviewers and also ask questions, a lot of questions, to try and understand what the needs are. I think part of the conversation should be, you're not the one talking a lot, but you're also just trying to understand what these people are looking for before you can give your response. And above all, I would say, trust God. Pray for. I normally pray a lot for for my customers, for my organization, and there are really people who have better solutions to offer. Better, they are more skilled, they are more talented than you. You're not always the best.
That's true.
But I would say I like what Solomon said, but you need to just be at the right place at the right time and chance. Then you make the most of it at that particular point in time. Yes.
I like that. I think somebody else has said the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized within the lifetime of that opportunity.
Wow. Very true.
Two things before we wrap this up. One, the role of patience.
Yes.
Because again, somebody might be, watching you or listening to you, and perhaps they're thinking, how do I get there? And they're thinking maybe tomorrow or in a year's time. So the role of patience. And then secondly, entitlement.
Yes.
Let's begin with patience.
So I don't think good things come very easily. And as I mentioned earlier, sometimes there's a lot of pressure to meet your targets. You are broke, you need to bring in more business. But I would say look at it from the other angle, that this is person who is investing in you and whatever you provide. So give them time. sometimes when you're calling a customer, ask them, when next can I give you a call to discuss? So just go with their pace, and you'll know when it's time to hit.
Yeah.
But also along that journey, try and enjoy yourself and enjoy the journey. It takes time. Savor the moment. I think my career now is a decade now, 10 years.
Wow.
10 years down the line, and I think it's getting better and better. So I'm really just enjoying the experience. Whether they are highs or lows, sometimes you really don't know what is coming up next. But you just patiently and be consistent in your engagement. Follow through to the very end. So I think it requires you to also quiet yourself down sometimes and think through, is this the right direction? Is this should I go in this other way? But take your time. Yeah. The second question was on entitlement.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, entitlement. I have met my colleagues in the industry who say, I cannot, go and just knock doors. I have to get an appointment. And a lot of my key interactions, number one, will be with the security personnel at the gate. He knows who is the key decision maker.
That's true.
They know who are the right people when they come. And they just know everything about their business. So take your time. Treat them well. The same way you will treat that senior officer you're going to meet. It is the same way you should treat the person at the gate. And just be kind, be courteous, and they're actually the route for you to get to that sale. So, and sure, sometimes, a lot of times you'll get the no. I remember in one of the markets where a lot of times you just see a small gate that is open. Do you have an appointment? No. The worst that will happen is they will say no. That is the worst. So, and sometimes we really think very highly of ourselves, but just humble yourself so that you don't miss on opportunities, because you will definitely miss out on a very big opportunity just because you're too entitled or you feel like you're a person of my position. I cannot do that. But you realize that your next sale might just be the person who is there at the gate or at the front reception. So treat them well, appreciate, say thank you, and they will guide you to the right person. And I think I've gotten quite some success stories just because of that.
Wow, just treating the people who ordinarily others would ignore. Yes,
with respect.
Yeah,
you have to respect. And even, I think, when the new constitution, I think it was in 2015, was not 2015. 2010 was promulgated, and there was this issue of devolution at some point. We used to have, there was a lot of hope in the country, and the economy was booming. And you would see people just probably coming into the showroom. Someone is wearing a Masai shuka. And how do you receive them? Are you receiving them with a smile, with a lot of respect and courtesy? And I remember several cases where someone has come from very far and they're interested in your product, and based on really how you welcomed them and how you treated them, they tell you, take me to the finance office. I would like to make a deposit.
Wow.
Back then, they could pay in cash. And things are a little different now. But, as much as you're trying to profile your customer, don't discard them. Even if they are wasting your time sometimes, and they may not buy. Remember, they know someone else who might be in a position to bring in business. So treat people well, respect them, irrespective of where they're coming from. And remember, you are at the face of your company, your project, your business. So let it be associated with the right kind of values. Yes.
All right. And maybe as we wrap this up, let's talk about emotions for a moment. Let's end it by talking about emotion. Emotional intelligence, emotional quotient, whatever people call it. What's the importance of that, and how should we be able to master both our emotions and the emotions of the people we are selling to?
Yes, I think that really touches on what we had talked about earlier about self-awareness, how well you know yourself. And true, you will meet all sorts of people. The moment this person starts talking, you just get angry.
Yeah.
Because first of all, they don't respect your time.
Yeah.
And again, others are very dismissive. They just hear, this one is a salesman, he's selling just insurance, and then they say, I don't have time.
Yeah. So
you need to be aware in those moments how you're feeling. And you really see it on your physical reactions. Maybe your mouth dries up, or you start stuttering a little bit. So when you see your physical reaction as well, you'll know, hey, this is a time to manage those feelings and reactions. And I think another key skill that we need to learn is how to depersonalize. Really just depersonalize. This is really not about you.
Yeah, it's not personal.
It's not personal, yes. This person, again, might be busy, might be having their own frustrations. So you just realize that it's not personal.
Yeah.
And I think that is very critical. It's just work.
Yeah.
So depersonalize. What they say does not really affect your self-worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they look down on you, that doesn't mean that is a reality. So I think I've learned across the way to, there are things you retain and some things that you just release. And it's not personal.
Yeah.
So, and also when you're engaging your customer, again, observe. You really take time to observe the non-verbals.
Yeah.
How are they? Are they angry? Are they busy? So you'll know, do I need to spend 30 minutes here or just 5? How much time do I have based on their emotion? You can just say, I can see that this may not be the best time to talk. Yeah. So I would like to request, let us meet again when it's more appropriate or convenient. Yeah. Just that. And then just try and get the next meeting. So observe. Take time to observe. And again, as I mentioned earlier, what is their age? What is their maybe their race? Are they sometimes whites are associated with direct and straight to the point. And again, their gender, their role. What do they do in the organization?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Wow.
that's what I would say.
Imagine, unfortunately, our time is up. When there is much to say and much to talk about, time runs fast. Yes. But thank you so much. I believe just the principles that you have shared, your own journey will prove useful to someone. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Well, we have come to the end of our conversation. Unfortunately, the hour is all that we have, but it is my prayer and hope that the little that you have learned, you'll put it to good use. And actually, you will begin your journey in growing your art of selling. And so whatever space you're in, whether you are selling a product, a service, you're selling yourself, you're selling a brand, you're an employee, whatever it is, please grow in these things. Well, this is goodbye from us, but before I go, let me remind you that we do this by virtue of partnership with men and women like yourself. So let me invite you to consider donating to the work that we do here by sending your contribution to pay bill number 316 and for account, just write your phone number. God bless you, and may He help you to grow in whatever trade that you're in. See you next week.